My dear viewers, this is a new episode of our program Africa Today. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Well, Cairo have discussed the situation in Gaza and the aid efforts with London, Berlin and Paris. This came during separate phone calls that was conducted by Foreign Minister Badr Abdel Ati with his European counterparts. And to shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to have with us over the phone our dear guest, Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Political Science and International Relations. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Well, Doctor, how did you see the latest or follow the latest developments in Gaza, especially with regards to the latest statements by the Israeli side by Netanyahu for the so-called Israeli Great Israel?
Yes, of course, that is very unfortunate statement, and it was confronted with a great deal of anger and dissatisfaction in the entire Arab world, and also outside that in the international, according to the international community. There are some good voices, fair-minded voices, who really objected to these statements, which reflects a state of aggression on the sovereignty of neighboring states. It is a blatant violation of the international law. So I think that the reaction was there inside Arab countries and in the international community. That's it.
Yes, Dr. Wagih, also Egypt in reaction have released a statement on this regard and said that Cairo needs more explanation on this, the idea of a Great Israel, and said that Egypt is still on its stance concerning the two-state solution for the sake of peace. How did you follow the reply or the reaction of Egypt?
Yeah, the foreign ministry really strongly condemned the phrases made by irresponsible, undiplomatic statements made by the Prime Minister of Israel. And also, when we say we want a further explanation, the deep meaning of that statement is that tell us how could you do that in a blatant way against international law and violating the spirit of the side peace treaty with Egypt. It is a loaded term made by the foreign ministry actually, and I think that this is something very ideological. The whole world hasn't seen an ideological leader in the history of Israel as the one who is there and who is making all these aggressive statements.
Yes, Dr. Wagih, how do you weigh the international and the Arab reaction to Netanyahu's statements?
Yes, you know, as we have seen lately, there are 31 foreign ministers gathered, Arab and Islamic foreign ministers, representing Arab and Islamic countries, who really made a very strong statement rejecting this kind of statements and condemning it and confronting such an attitude, of course. And I think this is, while we are trying to de-escalate, the other party is trying to escalate all the time. And this is very incompatible, and it calls for an international community far more stronger intervention.
Yes, Dr. Wagih, also, how do you explain the failure by the international community to put an end to the war of starvation in Gaza?
Actually, if you can watch closely what's happening in the international community, you can find that a lot of voices, demonstrations, many fair-minded people started to talk and to speak out, against the Israeli genocidal war. They are talking about genocidal war. They are talking in the international community also about the new Holocaust. It is the Holocaust that Israel suffered from is practicing now. And these are not my words. These are the words of so many people in the international community who like to see the world in a far more balanced and away from this imbalanced situation where the aggressor is continuing his aggression and continuing his starvation war, continuing his suicidal attitude. And the problem is that he is trying, that party is trying to throw the responsibility on the shoulder of Egypt. People here watch for that, knew that the Israelis trying to cultivate insinuation by using the militia and their media, who are very aggressive and who are made actually to destabilize countries and to destruct development, unfortunately.
Yes. Dr. Wagih, just days ago, Netherlands police have arrested a prominent Israeli commander over war crimes in Rafah during a vacation in The Hague. So how do you read the move in comparison to a history of unpunished Israeli crimes for decades?
I think that is very telling and very important. And I think that the international community pressure is growing, trying to be fair a little bit. And I think this will develop far more elaborate than that. We need to implement all resolution issued by all the international community through the United Nations through the United Nations organization. And I think that step is telling in itself, and it would tell us that the world is moving towards a different direction now, rather than the usual.
Doctor, how is the ongoing war and the starvation in Gaza impacting the image of Israel worldwide?
I think they are surrounded by the fact is being uncovered. The brutal occupation is utterly uncovered, and I don't think that voices inside the United States, inside European Union, inside the international community at large, is very clear in condemnation, and I think that this condemnation is growing, and this what will be enforcement in the final analysis, hopefully.
Yes. How can the Israeli entity withstand the long war on the political and economic stages?
I beg your pardon, what is the question again?
How can the Israeli entity withstand the long war on the political and economic stages?
Of course, I think that Israel is deploying a very self-defeating strategy. Their army is so exhausted. There is opposition in Israel. Today, I heard about a large-scale strike inside Israel itself. I think that Netanyahu is in one direction, and many people inside his cabinet is against him, against his policies. Think of the personalizing politics, politicizing things for his narrow-minded agenda. I don't think that would allow him to continue for this brutal agenda.
Yes, Dr. Wagih, how do you see the latest? Last week, Israel hit a tent where journalists and reporters were staying in, and it killed 6 reporters and cameramen. Among them, a very famous reporter in a very famous Arab channel who is Anas al-Sharif. How did you follow these news, and what is the reason behind Israel targeting journalists in Gaza?
Actually, you know, this is not the only event that took place where there is assassination of the media people, journalists. I think that this is exactly like when you say 135 people were killed yesterday or the day before yesterday. No, there are 60,000 people killed, and the tens of thousands are being injured. And the same thing could be applied on Israel towards journalism, towards media. You know, it is not only Anas Sharif, it is not only the 6 people who were killed. If you can make the correct statistics, you can find like it is more than 150, maybe some kind of this number, a great number, unprecedented number. No one conflict in the world was witnessing this number of killing the media, suppressing the media for telling the people the truth, for uncovering what is being hidden
Yes.
by the Israeli government.
Yes. I thank you very much for your time. Thank you for your valuable information, Dr. Hassan Wagih, Professor of Political Science and International Relations expert. Thank you very much for joining us over the phone. Well, moving on to Sudan, Sudanese paramilitary forces shelled North Darfur, besieged capital El-Fasher, killing at least 17 civilians and injuring 25 others. Medical sources have reported the incident. More in the following report.
In a remarkable display of determination, skill and national pride, the Egyptian Wheelchair Basketball Federation concluded its historic participation in the inaugural 3x3 Open World Championship held in Sun City, South Africa. The landmark events not only marked the debut of Egypt's 3x3 wheelchair basketball team on the global stage, but also underscored the country's growing influence in international adaptive sports. As one of the first African nations to take part in this newly introduced championship format by the International Wheelchair Basketball Federation, Egypt embraced the challenge with spirit and ambition. Competing among elite teams from around the world, the Egyptian squad showcased resilience and growth, finishing in 11th place overall, an impressive result for a team participating in its first ever global 3x3 tournament. Egypt was drawn in Group A alongside strong contenders including Great Britain, Croatia, Malaysia and the United Arab Emirates. The team began its campaign with a resounding 13-3 victory over Kenya, demonstrating dominance and control. Their momentum continued with a thrilling and hard-fought 12-11 win over the UAE, affirming their place as a team to watch. Despite valiant efforts, the team narrowly lost to Great Britain 10-13 and fell just 1 point short in a 12-13 defeat to Croatia. These close margins reflected the team's competitiveness and potential rather than shortcomings. Following the group stage, Egypt moved into the placement matches for positions 9-16. They faced Malaysia in a tense and closely matched game that ended 12-13 in favor of the opposition. However, the Egyptian team quickly bounced back with a spirited 9-7 win over host nation South Africa. In another gripping rematch against Croatia, Egypt came up just short again, losing 17-18 in one of the tournament's most closely contested battles. Still, the team concluded their journey with pride, securing a convincing 15-9 win over Slovenia to cement their 11th place ranking.
Uganda's capital, Kampala, is Uganda's capital city and also the largest city in the country. It is one of the world's fastest growing cities, as well as East Africa's best city to live. More in the following report.
Kampala is Uganda's national and commercial capital, bordering Lake Victoria, Africa's largest lake. Hills covered with red tile villas and trees surrounded an urban center of contemporary skyscrapers. In this downtown area, the Uganda Museum explores the country's tribal heritage through an extensive collection of artifacts. On nearby Mango Hill is Lubiri Palace, the former seat of the Buganda Kingdom. Kampala City is a city which is a home to one of Uganda's largest and second oldest universities, and it is famously known as an education center, where students go to learn, hence making it well renowned for academic and research purposes. Majority of the people in Kampala speak Luganda, while others speak English. Catholics are the largest religious denomination, constituting close to 40% of the population, followed by Anglicans with 32% and Muslims with about 14%. Kampala is reported to be among the fastest growing cities in Africa, with an annual population growth rate of 4.03. Mercer, a New York-based consulting firm, has regularly ranked Kampala as East Africa's best city to live in, ahead of Nairobi and Kigali.
Well, with this, we come to the end of our program Africa Today. My name is Amal Mukhtar. Thank you for watching.